Will I ever talk about a game that isn't made by Square Enix? Sure. Will it be today? Not at all. The Trials of Honor remake is here to show us that remakes don't have to spend billions of dollars and can be incredibly entertaining with a smaller budget and good source material. Ironic when you consider that Square Enix is the one responsible for the most ambitious, over-the-top remake of all gaming history, but let's leave that for later. Remakes can be made by keeping the original content and smoothing out mechanics that age terribly to gameplay formats accepted today and that will probably be acceptable for many more years, unlike its predecessors. This review contains some spoilers for the game, nothing about its ending however. If you absolutely don't want to know any details, then check the description for timestamps to know what to avoid. I fell in love with Trials of Mana in the SNES while watching its gameplay because it really was a product ahead of its time, with tons of dungeons, fast travel mechanics, an expansive world, a complex progression system, and so much more. But I did not want to play it myself as it was in the SNES. To be more specific, every single ability you want to cast simply takes forever to go through, and even though it establishes an action JRPGs in freaking 1995 and attacking and walking around works completely fine, spellcasting was simply a chore. I do not want to spend my time playing a game that has aged like that. If you want to, by all means, go ahead and play the original, it seems fantastic. But it's simply not fun for me, and it's the same for a lot of people. So I got really excited when I found out there was a remake for this game, and it's so accessible too since it's even on PC. And that's exactly what Trials of Honor Remake does. It removes those stiff spell animations into a much more fluid action RPG, without hurting the original game's score. This makes the game 1000% more playable compared to the SNES version, and by simply making the abilities work in real time. You cast the ability and the rest of the game doesn't stop while you're doing it. Amazing, right? You can also set shortcuts so you don't have to pause the game by opening the abilities menu every time. It makes the whole experience smoother. You can only pick 4 abilities however, and you can't use shortcuts for your party members' abilities, which was kinda sloppy to be honest. Was that really hard to make? It doesn't get in the way that much, except if you're playing as Angela, the Black Mage, because she has that many spells and you want to go for enemy weaknesses. By taking the game to modern standards, we also get crystal clear mechanics that make the experience more entertaining. For instance, the point allocation menu has a window that shows players exactly which abilities they'll get by investing in certain attributes. Navigating the list is very intuitive, and it is also a great pointer to which abilities you should focus for each character. For instance, if you're playing as Kevin, since he's a fighter, you'll be interested in getting his attack higher and skills that increase his damage, and also abilities that mitigate damage taking. You won't be as interested in his abilities regarding points related to magic damage or luck as much as the other ones. So this indirectly makes for a guide to the game and to develop your characters. Trials of Mana also has such a good main cast, surprising for a game from 1995 to be honest. 3 girls and 3 boys, and the girls can be the main protagonist. They did a better job than Final Fantasy 15. And these characters are so good that when I finished the game, I kinda wanted more of them. I thought it was a shame they most likely won't star in any more games. Angela was probably my favorite, she's pretty funny, and I thought her story about trying to find her own strength and save her mom was nice. But I really liked all of them. Except Duran. My god, what a cliche character. He's the worst out of the 6 by far. And I tried liking Duran, I swear to god I did, but he's such an empty character. Every single one of the other 5 lose something important in the prologue. Rias loses her dad, Kevin loses his puppy, Angela becomes completely alone because her mom wants to murder her, Hawkeye had his best friend killed, Charlotte has her friend kidnapped, and what happens to Duran? He kinda loses in a battle. This dude is so upset that he lost one single battle that he just has to go on a journey to defeat the man that had the audacity to make fun of him. He's insufferable. The story in this game is untouched from the 1995 version, so it's pretty bland. The plot twists are kinda weak, but you can appreciate it as a work of its time. It's very interesting that there's 3 villain groups and that they don't work together at all. And whoever is your main character decides which main villain prevails, which is cool, but it's also kinda fucked up because at the beginning you're basically choosing who you want to suffer more through the journey. Ah yes, I pick Rias because I want her to take the long time to find her brother. You must suffer until the end, Rias. I wish they would have changed a few things, however. The character designs, for instance. Like it or not, this game was made in 2020, so bringing it to our context is necessary. The girls' outfits are still too sexualized and they're all minors. Not everything translates well when you go from 2D to 3D, so this makes a big impact. This is also true for cutscenes, some of them could have done some small reworking. For instance, in Rias' prologue, she's in a hurry to go save her dad, but she ends up leaving her very young brother behind with 2 assassins, so he gets kidnapped. Now, there's absolutely no way you can convince me that the captain of the Valkyrie Guard left behind a child with 2 assassins because she was in a hurry. Changing it to the villain simply teleporting away with her brother would have worked just fine. It wouldn't have changed anything in the plot. It would have made the cutscene smaller, even simpler, with less animation. Of course, I understand that such tweaks would require them to revisit each scene to add changes, which would be adding more costs and overall go against the game's direction to keep the story unchanged. Still, I believe that this could have been worked without hurting the original content and adding too much costs. It's not about making the story into a masterpiece, but about translating 2D to 3D better. And while we're on the subject of story, I was impressed by their work in the postgame. It was a really great move from the developers. It had some pretty nice content, and the best part is, in no way does it hurt the content of the original game, as it's all after the main story basically. A simple way to improve the game. I appreciated how much nuance and character development they added in the post-game content, not only for our main heroes, but for the supporting cast as well. A lot of characters kinda disappeared in the original game, but the post-game content puts everyone in the spotlight again, which was a nice surprise. I won't say anymore, as you should see this stuff for yourself if you're interested. And lastly, 100% in this game is pretty fun. Your second playthrough will add some features so you won't get bored, and you'll probably be switching party members to see how the rest of the cast is and their abilities too. There's also some new difficulties to toy around with, but be advised there's some rough stuff in there. Not fun for everyone. My only gripe with 100% is that you actually have to complete 3 runs of the game. At least. I thought the second run was honestly a lot of fun. The game isn't that long, and revisiting the story allows you to pick on some more details, and switching the villain adds more to the lore. But playing it for a 3rd time is a little tiring. Perhaps the fault lies with me, as I did all runs in a row, and I do recommend taking a break from the game in between the 2nd and 3rd runs, but it also had its good points by increasing the difficulty. I hope more remakes like Trials of Mana will come in the future because it's the kind of content we need. Bring games that didn't age well to modern standards, and you don't have to make them with amazing graphics or anything. With some small tweaks to the gameplay and leaving the stories mostly untouched, you open up franchises and classics to a whole new public while making them more fun and engaging in the process. This isn't an RPG I recommend to everyone, since if you could notice from the video, the game expects you to know some concepts from experience. You also have to make choices for your party setup and classes, and even veterans should check Google for those. But if you like RPGs, you should definitely play this game since it has so much to offer. You'll fall in love with the gameplay, and even though everything is kinda cheesy, you'll love the characters and their stories too. Except for the run, I hope you'll come to hate them as well. So this was it for GamReviews. Thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and consider subscribing, you know the drill. I always appreciate some feedback as well. Falou e até mais!